Hi, I'm Dave Epstein, and welcome to this edition of Growing Wisdom. Today we're going to talk about those plants which are easy to care for and long-lasting. One of the things no gardener wants to do is replant trees, shrubs, and perennials. When you put those things in, you want them to last. And looking around my yard, I have a lot of trees and a lot of perennials, and most of them have thrived over the years. Since 2007, we've shot over 400 videos talking about ways in which you can improve your garden. And I thought it'd be interesting to go back and look at some of those videos in context. How have the plants that we've put in during that time performed? So we'll show you some footage of this particular bed going in several years ago. We did a mix of roses and phlox and some other perennials, and this is what it looks like years later. So in this bed, we've got some knockout roses, Volcano Phlox, we've got some flower carpet amber roses. So I've got an interesting conifer and an interesting sumac looking like plant, which kind of goes a little nuts at times and we have to keep it pruned. So the knockout roses are still in flower, and they're of a group of roses that are what we call low care or no care rose. The plant is just thriving, and I've done nothing besides give it a little bit of food early in the spring. So several years ago, we put in the Tropicana Canada. There's all sorts of different varieties of them. I'll show you the yellow one out back in a minute. And this has just been going year after year. So what do I do with this? Every year, I move it into the garage. It just stays in there all winter long. I don't water it. I cut it back, and then I put in some annuals. We've got some snapdragons here. We've got some gladiolas behind it, and I just think it makes a nice container. But what's wonderful about it is the big wow factor in this container has just continued to thrive year after year. What's great about the Tropicana Canada is they really do add that pop in any container. Eventually, these cannas will flower later on in the season and give us a nice orange spike of color as well. But it's really the foliage that is the special part of this plant. Now, if you don't have a container that you want to put your cannas in, you can put them in the ground. So here's another clump of that same canna. I put it in the ground every year in this spot. I like the fact that it gives a nice pop of that burgundy color. And what you have to do is, after the plants have gotten one frost, dig them up, put them in a bag of peat, store them in the basement, and they're fine all winter long, and resume the process again next spring. Another plant we put in several years ago was flower carpet scarlet, and this has continued to bloom almost continuously since June. Here it is September, still going strong. The leaves look great, no disease. I haven't done a thing to this. What a great plant. I've been driving by these flower carpet roses for years, and they're still going strong. It's right along the side of the road. In spite of all the snow, the road salt, and everything else alongside the road, these Pink Supreme continue to flower beautifully. Other perennials like our Ligularia here, Britt Marie Crawford, they just keep going. They're so easy. This is another one of those easy care perennials. Here it is late summer, early fall, and the color's fantastic, and this will bloom for weeks at a time. Turtlehead or Chalone is another one of those great easy care for perennials, and the bees really love this. So just 2 years ago, I redid this bed. I took out some big old rhododendron and put in a lot of flowering shrubs, some small trees, and we did add a Volcano Phlox. And I did it for exactly the reason that you see right now. It's flowering at the end of July, early August. If I cut it back, it'll flower again later in September into October. It gives that pop of color in a bed when other things might not be flowering, and I don't have to do anything to it. So the goal for today's video was to show you several plants that really are low or no maintenance. Now, every plant needs water and every plant needs some light, and you have to do some things to all plants, but finding those plants which are just easy to care for really makes gardening that much more enjoyable. For Growing Wisdom, I'm Dave Epstein.